Welcome to today's complimentary mini session called Building Up the Courage for Critical Conversation, Delivering Feedback. The Indaba Leadership Development e-training programs use a similar format to deliver highly effective training programs online. Our goal is to have your people watch and be able to implement proven tips and strategies to help your business run more effectively. Best of all, by using this multimedia format with streamed video, downloadable audio, manuals, white papers, and recommended reading, your people learn the material in the mode they prefer and at the times they choose, whether at their desk, at home during quiet time, while exercising, or when they are traveling. We call this flexibility my way, my place, my pace. Employees and organizations love it. Now let's listen to Building Up the Courage for Critical Conversation, Delivering Feedback.
There will come a time when a particular employer or group of employees makes a mistake. Providing corrective feedback is a task that nobody looks forward to because it can often be awkward and intimidating to be the bearer of bad news. However, without corrective feedback, employees and teams have no opportunity to improve. Thus, feedback stands as a vital aspect of managing an organization. The good news is that providing feedback doesn't have to be the miserable experience that it has the reputation of being. By adopting the right process and attitude, feedback can become an integrated part of a company's culture. It can be appreciated for its incontestable value rather than dreaded by all involved. All it takes to make this a positive experience is a change in how you look at it and have a process for delivering feedback. The first major point to consider is that feedback is not coaching. The two are quite different in both method and in purpose. Coaching is usually intended to show employees the correct way to do a task or provide a preferred method of handling a situation. Coaching can also be used to establish the groundwork for avoiding possible future disciplinary action or to instill a certain preferred pattern of behavior in a willful employee. By contrast, feedback is simply that. It's a means of directly letting someone know the reactions, results, and consequences of an action that they've performed. Feedback is usually the result of an expectation not being fulfilled. It allows us to see where we've gone wrong in our thinking and to identify ways in which we can improve. Feedback needn't always be negative, but since few people have trouble delivering good news, for the scope of this eZine, we'll be confining ourselves to discussing feedback as a vehicle for communicating slipped expectations. The following are some ways in which you, as a manager, can overcome your aversion to delivering feedback and come to view it as the useful tool that it really is. The number one thing to remember when providing feedback is that you should never make it personal. Instead, keep your criticisms constructive and explain to the employee what this means for the company as a whole. Use feedback to communicate how to improve efforts in the future rather than criticizing an individual for their mistakes. By maintaining a positive tone that focuses on improving flaws and better employee performance, you can cultivate an objective atmosphere that will make an employee who's receiving feedback feel much less threatened. They'll begin to see feedback as a matter of meeting or not meeting company expectations. Employees will view it as a method for how to maintain a sense of professional accountability rather than a matter of discussing their personal faults. Encourage the sense that feedback is neither punitive nor coaching. It's just a standard and necessary aspect of communicating how performance has measured up to expected results. Adopt the stance that feedback and constructive criticism is a valuable opportunity to learn from past mistakes and improve future performance. It's not a disciplinary action. Rather, it's a free and unsolicited evaluation of your performance with an eye to the fact that everyone has confidence that you can do better. Without feedback, you can have a very narrow view of your faults, which ultimately leads to missed expectations. By accepting criticism with an open mind and a willingness to learn, we can improve things for ourselves and for the entire organization. In addition to embodying this stance in all of your actions as a manager, you must take steps to foster the same attitude in others. One critical way to do this is by implementing a periodic feedback session for every employee on a consistent basis, whether they need to be disciplined for something or not. By divorcing the idea of feedback from its typically negative connotations, we can begin to see it in a new and productive light. It's not enough, however, to simply inform an employee that they can do better. We must be accurate in our judgment and assessment of performance when delivering feedback. The goal is to help employees come up with a concrete plan for improvement. This includes going over their past successes and failures so that they can identify areas in which they need work. Through this process, employees also become empowered to improve in the immediate future. Once you've helped them identify potential improvements, assist them with setting up an order of priority of which should be improved first. This establishes a logical flow of improvement. When delivering feedback, it's important to be as specific as possible. If an employee has a record of missing work, it's far better to say something like, "You've missed 4 days of work in the past 30 days, and company policy requires a note from your doctor for future illness," rather than saying, "You've missed more days than we'd like you to." The first statement is more objective, and there's less ground for argument because it's supported by clear numerical facts and corporate policy. The second example, by contrast, is so generalized that it sounds like a judgment of the individual's character. It implies that there's a conflict between the number of days that the employee feels is appropriate to take off and the number of days the manager feels is appropriate. Taking this route will automatically put the employee on the defensive, which makes them less receptive to feedback. Before you give an employee feedback, it's absolutely vital to ensure that the information is factual and accurate. Basing feedback on hearsay will only result in embarrassment once the truth eventually comes to light. Despite your good intentions, it will create an automatic mistrust in your employees, and they'll be less likely to take your feedback seriously in the future. Delivering feedback, particularly of the constructive criticism variety, is often seen as an unpleasant managerial duty. However, this is simply a matter of perspective. If you view feedback as a positive experience and adopt the right frame of mind, it can become one of the most valuable tools for improvement. As it stands, feedback is a mandatory part of the business experience. Your best option is to take the extra steps needed to make feedback work for you.
I hope that you found today's program insightful. Feel free to forward this link to colleagues or others who might enjoy these mini sessions. For more information on the wide range of seminars we have to offer, call our office at 727-360-0111. Contact one of our representatives or click the link to our demo to view many of our management and leadership offerings.